If you have a new fish in your aquarium and he seems to be shy and always hides away, then keep watching this video as I went through the exact same thing and I'm going to share with you how I managed to fix that problem. So the fish in question is my new Archerfish. Since I bought the little guy, he seems to be incredibly shy, and whenever I put in any food, he actually swims away from the food rather than towards it, because all of the other fish, they kind of go towards the food and they scare the little guy away. But yeah, before we talk about how I fixed this problem, let's talk about how I found myself in this situation in the first place. You see, it all started when I bought my first Archerfish, which was Buckbeak. I was at Wholesale Tropicals and I was actually there to buy another snakehead. This was around the time when I bought my first snakehead, and that snakehead was really cool, so I decided to go get another one. And whilst I was in the store, I was just walking around and I looked up and I just saw this one single Archerfish just chilling by himself, and he looked so cool. And I even remember thinking, I always walk past these Archerfish but I never actually stopped to look at them properly. And it was in that moment that my brain actually made the connection that Archerfish are those fish that shoot water to catch insects. Like in the wild, they chill near the surface, and when an insect comes really close to the water, they literally shoot water like a water pistol, hit the insect falls into the water, and then of course they eat up the insect. And apparently if you have Archerfish, you can actually train them to shoot insects from your hand into the water. It's definitely a behavior I want to see. As a matter of fact, I bought some crickets not too long ago. Oh, look at them. There you go. Yeah, I bought some crickets and I am gonna try it out and let's see what happens there. But yeah, anyway, so I was at the shop and I fell in love immediately. So of course I bought the Archerfish, I took him straight home, I named him Buckbeak, and he's been doing great ever since. Like, he is super active, he swims around the tank all day. When I put in food, he goes for it. And yeah, in general, Archerfish are just so cool to have and they're so cool to watch. Now, naturally, because the Archerfish was doing so well in my aquarium, I of course wanted to get some more. But unfortunately, as I mentioned, when I was in Wholesale Tropicals, they literally only had this one. Now, I did check online, and online they did have some, but yeah, they were so expensive. Like, in Wholesale Tropicals they were £20. The only one I could find online was £44. So yeah, I just thought, let me wait, let me just hope that Wholesale Tropicals gets them in again. And over the next few weeks I did keep going back to see if they got more in stock, but unfortunately they didn't. This was back in like November, December, by the way. But a few weeks ago I went into Wholesale Tropicals and people, they had a fresh batch of clouded baby Archerfish. Oh, I was so excited, people. They had a whole tank. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the Archerfish that I have is the clouded Archerfish, which is the freshwater Archerfish. There is also the normal Archerfish, which is the brackish water species. That is not the one that I have. I have the freshwater one, just to be clear. But yeah, when I was in Wholesale Tropicals and I saw the fresh batch, naturally I wanted to get some straight away. Like, ideally I want a group of maybe 4 or 5, but of course I couldn't forget about the price. Archerfish are quite pricey. They cost £20 each, and if you're buying one at a time, it's kind of fine, but if you're buying 3 or 4, that's like £60 to £80. So yeah, at the time I could only buy one. I named him Legolas from Lord of the Rings, and I put him in my Fluval Roma 240. And yo, Buckbeak and Legolas seem to get along great. Well, kind of, anyway. You see, there was a very noticeable size difference. Buckbeak was much bigger than Legolas. Legolas was only a little baby. So at the start, the bigger one kind of chased the little one around. But after about an hour or two, they did seem to chill together and they were kind of alright. But yeah, like I said, there was a noticeable size difference. As a matter of fact, there was a noticeable size difference between that small Archerfish and all of the fish in the aquarium, which of course is what caused my Archerfish to become really nervous, and he hid away all of the time. Now, to be completely honest, I did kind of expect this behavior at the start, because I could even see in the shop that the fish was quite small. However, I kind of assumed that once Legolas gets comfortable and he chills with the bigger Archerfish, and you know, during feeding time, if they just stick together, like, I thought it was going to be fine. I thought they're just going to chill together and all of that. But I guess the lesson I learned is just having 2 isn't really enough enough to get that social energy between those fish going. Because yeah, I don't know if I mentioned this, but usually you do keep Archerfish in a group, and you know, once again, the only reason I started with one is because they only had one. But yeah, they're usually in a group, but the size difference really made a difference. And even though they did seem to chill together at times, when feeding time came about, the big one of course shot away to go get their food and left the little one to kind of just get the leftovers. And yeah man, everything that was happening, it was really stressful for Legolas. He did not eat for the first 3 days. I mean, compared to Buckbeak, the bigger Archerfish, he ate the next day. Do you get it? Like, Archerfish from my experience are really good eaters. But yeah, the small one, he literally took 3 days, and even then, like, he wouldn't go to the surface or go towards all of the other fish. It's when all of the other fish were eating and all of that, little bits of food obviously went into the water, and some of it followed the flow and kind of went towards Legolas, and he would quickly dart out, eat a little piece, and then run back or swim back behind the leaves. And yeah, I felt bad for him, man. It seemed like such a stressful existence to be constantly scared in your environment. Now, I was only really left with 3 options. My first option was I move him over to my Fluval Roma 200, which is right here, let him grow big in there, and then move him back over to the big aquarium once he's at a similar size to Buckbeak and he can kind of look after himself. Now, the reason I don't really want to do that is because of the African butterfly fish. I've put in surface dwelling fish in the past. It was the Celebi half-beaks, and the African butterfly fish ate them immediately, like literally within seconds. I put them into the aquarium and they literally chased them around the surface and just ate them. And yeah, even though the Archerfish is a little bit bigger, I still didn't want to take the risk that the African butterfly fish might attack it or something like that, because they are at the end of the day both surface dwelling fish, and it looks like butterfly fish can be a bit territorial. Now, my option number 2 was I could return them to wholesale tropicals, but I guess it goes without saying I definitely did not want to do that. So the only real option I had left was option number 3, which is I go back to wholesale tropicals, buy another Archerfish, and hope that introducing a third Archerfish will get the other one kind of more active, and hope it will just increase the confidence in that little group. I mean, the big one doesn't need any confidence, but the 2 small ones will hopefully give confidence to each other to start acting a bit more natural and start coming out. So off I went to wholesale tropicals. I'll be real, I was a little bit worried that they were sold out, but luckily they still had a few. So I grabbed one, went back home and put him straight into the aquarium. Well, I also bought a Botia Dario and a Siamese algae eater. There is separate reasons why I bought those. I made a video about it. I'll put it up here somewhere if you want to watch it. And yeah, I got back home and I put all of the fish into the aquarium. The Botia Dario and the algae eater, they done their thing, and my new Archerfish went straight to Legolas, and I was so happy, man. And yo, the effect was immediate. Both of the small Archerfish seem to be really active and energetic, and Buckbeak seems to be a bit more accepting of the Archerfish as well now. I felt like at the start Buckbeak was just looking at Legolas like, man, you little kid, go away. But now, because there's 2 of them, he does seem to be more receptive of chilling with the group, which is really cool. But having said that, there's also many moments still where if the aquarium gets a bit too active, Legolas and Usopp both hide away behind the leaves now. But at least now Legolas isn't by himself, he's chilling with another Archerfish. And like I said, most of the time when all the fish are kind of calmed down, they do actually explore the aquarium now. So yeah, the effect was immediate, and it looks like it mostly worked out. Now, if you've ever had a shy fish and you've had a similar problem, let me know in the comments how you dealt with that problem, because someone might be watching this video trying to deal with this and my solution might not be an option for them. So yeah, if you do have a similar experience, let me know in the comments how you dealt with it, and who knows, maybe your comment will help someone else who's struggling with this problem. And yeah, if you want to see the day I bought my first Archerfish, then click right here.